banger for you here today. You're what?
With a pretty strong west wind in the afternoon and Friday. Wow.
This is my song We Can Drive Away. You can find it on my SoundCloud. There's a link in the description. And I suggest you listen to the song before you watch this video. This video is gonna be about my mix of the song and a little bit about the production as well. So I'm gonna show you a little bit what I did and why I did it. So, yeah. I'm gonna start with the mix bus because that's where a lot of the vibe of the song is coming from in terms of the mix. I'm trying to capture like a 80s, 90s positive vibe feeling. I don't know how else to explain it. A big part of that is this cassette plugin by Waves Factory. I purposely set it up to sound like I'm playing the song through a shitty old tape deck. It's really cool. I went over the top with it with the wobbling and the distortion, but it's I don't know. It works for this song. I've had this on throughout the whole process, even throughout the recording process, because it affects all my decisions because it's on the mix bus. So it sounds really clean and pretty good without it, but it's much more interesting with it. It's very boomy and distorted and wobbling all over the place. The treble is also like shifting between the left and the right all the time, but it's really cool. After that, I have this plugin by Castro called True Iron. It's a saturation plugin. It's really cool. It's crushing the sound right now. I usually don't crush it this much, but it's cool for this song. Listen to the kick and the snare. Pushes it together in a really interesting way. I've mixed through this plugin, so I pushed the kick and the snare harder than I would do without this plugin. So I don't know what they did. They really, it's a really good plugin. I don't know if I've ever heard a saturation plugin in the box sound this good. It's really cool. I'm gonna abuse it a lot from now on. Let me jump here, go to the chorus. I also got this multiband compressor. It's DIN 1 by Leapwig Audio. It's like a really good mastering multiband compressor. Or limiter maybe, I don't know. I've set it up to make the low end and the low mids pump a little bit to the kick and the snare. It makes the low end move a little bit more interesting. I'm gonna show you. I think it's fine without it, but it makes the low end a little bit tighter. It's cool. I also use this compressor by Acoustic Audio called Cobalt. This is like a tube type compressor. It's fairly slow, and I've decided to have the left and the right unlinked. To me that sounds really cool with this compressor. It sounds big, and this compressor works really well on everything that's pretty slow. The attack is 25 milliseconds and the release is almost 200, and these meters do exactly what I think my ears hear in terms of how it pumps. This to me helps the mix a lot. It's really good. It changes the way it moves and it makes it much more interesting. One thing I had to do with this, and I usually have to do this with this plugin, I'm changing the threshold depending on which part of the song I'm in. So like in the verse I'm lowering the threshold to still make it compress about the same, maybe a little bit less than in the choruses, but otherwise it wouldn't even compress here. And I think you have to move with the song if the song changes in volume a lot. I'm gonna walk through the different instruments of the song. I'm gonna start with the drums. I have a couple of kick channels, a couple of snare channels, one hi-hat, 2 more hi-hats that comes in the choruses, one cymbal and 1 tambourine that comes in the choruses. I'm gonna show you the kick first. So this is my main kick channel. Pretty basic. It's blended with this one. It's like a stereo clicky kick. And in the choruses, this one comes in. It adds some dirtiness and a little bit more energy in the choruses. I'm using Rectify on it. It's like it's a plugin that comes with Pro Tools. It's like a lo-fi distortion thing. And this one is also blended in. It's more an acoustic kick. I added a lot of top end on that one. And the snare. This is a really short snare. It adds like low mid punch, I would say. Like snappy low mid. And this is like my main snare channel. This extends it a little bit. And just a normal plate reverb. I printed this because the plugin is very CPU heavy. It's gold plate by Kush Audio. And in the choruses we got this really low snare. I added a bit of low end and a top end. Oh wait, we got this crazy reverb on it. It's way too much, but it works. I also have this weird slap delay thing on the snare. I made it a little bit, it's a little bit too fast. It makes the drums move a little bit different, I think. And then we get the hi-hat. This is an acoustic hi-hat that I played. There's no compression, no EQ or anything. I put this Panagement 2 plugin by Auburn Sound. It's a pan plugin. You can pan stuff around. It's a really interesting plugin. It sounds way different than panning stuff in your DAW. Sometimes this works really good with a mono instrument when you want to place it in a little bit more inside the mix. In the choruses I also added like another hi-hat. It's panned a little bit more to the left. And I also have this pumping thing by Waves. One pump it's called. Let me see if I can show you with like the kick. It makes it a little bit more random. I don't know. I already have a static hi-hat, so it's a double hi-hat, so I didn't want both of them to play all the time. And we have this really dry tambourine. I actually forgot about this one, so there's no EQ, no reverb or anything. But it works. Who cares? I'm gonna jump to the next course. Listen to the hi-hats. It makes the drums move different. I really like this plugin. It's Viridian 2 by Acoustic Audio. It works well for me on drums always. A couple of dB compression with the preamp section on. For this, in this particular case, it makes them move interestingly, and it changes the way the hi-hat feels. I mean, it feels more alive. I don't know how else to describe it. So let's check out the bass. So this is just straight into my DAW, a DI. I put this plugin in by Brainworks. Makes it sound a little bit more realistic and boomy, less clean. It works for me. I'm shaping it a little bit with Hammer EQ by Kush Audio. I'm adding 50 Hz, like this is really wide cues. I'm adding a little bit of mids, removing some of that pick noise. For some reason I really like this one for bass. It looks a little bit weird on the meter, but that's like, I think this is, I always feel like it, if I push it hard enough, it flattens the sound just the way I want it, particularly bass. I also have this weird EQ by Gullfoss. It's like a dynamic EQ thing that moves all the time. You have this boost thing which makes it more smiley curve or less smiley curve. So with this one I add subs, and then it's also pulling down some low mids dynamically, and I don't want it to affect the treble, so I put like this filter on. This is not doing very much, but it's what it does is really good. And then I have this red eye, I don't know how to say it, by Kush Audio. This is perfect for bass. You can make it distort, and you can add low end. It's a big volume jump, but I think you get the point. It's let's see if I can like distort it really a lot. It has this cool raw distortion, simple distortion. That works well for bass. And then I have this little EQ that removes some of that weird boominess. I don't know where it comes from. I think it may come from this one. And I add a little bit of mids. We got a couple of weird rhythm things going on. In the verses I have this one. It's a pumping, distorted thing with a bit crusher.
That's what we've got for you as far as the weekend forecast. Saturday, a warm day at 81, sunny cloud mix. Sunday, a hot day at 88.
It adds a little bit of tempo. I like it. And in the choruses, I've got a really weird one. You got some really weird notes in it, but who cares? It's cool. And in the choruses, I have two guitars. One that just play notes. They have quite a bit of plugins on them. So this is recorded plugins with a guitar amp, with a ribbon mic, so they are really dark. So I needed to brighten with a little bit of Clariphonic by Kush Audio. This one is really good for guitars, I think, when the guitars are too dull, because this also adds transients, I feel like. And I shape them. make them pop a little bit. And I got this weird cassette plug-in that's really dirty. It distorts it. And then some true iron that I showed you before. And I use management to pan them. I cleaned a little bit of the low mid out. I got a bunch of synths. And this little tiny synth with big reverb. Jesus. I actually use this Valhalla delay and I turn the diffusion up. And that makes it like really diffuse delay, which turns it to a reverb. It's really cool. And this is the same notes. But that becomes like a reverb almost for the other synths. And I have these really weird ones. They are really trippy. Really out of tune. I don't know why I kept them. They're in the background though, so but whatever. And I got this tiny synth as well. They're all playing the same melody. Together with those one, I have like a whistle channel. You see. With a lot of reverb, Valhalla delay. You don't really hear this one in the mix, I feel. It changes the sound, but really what your ear focuses on are the synths. This almost fills the role of like a cymbal almost. Comes in a couple of times in the song.
Bring down the shade. That's what we've got for you as far as the weekend forecast. Saturday, a warm day at 81.
And in the chorus,
Sunday, a hot day.
let's see what we got.
88.
They work well together. This bottom one makes you hear the notes better, but this, I don't know, it adds a lot of attack to the melody. And then we got these audio samples that I've added.
Bring down the shade. That's what we've got for you as far as the weekend forecast. Saturday.
They're just old weather forecasts from the 80s that I found. They're pretty cool. It adds a vibe to the song. You're not even supposed to hear what they say exactly, but you can pick out like hot weather, summer, Friday, Saturday.
Seating is certainly starting to fill up. People are, of course,
I added some treble
right now. It is dinner time.
because the sounds themselves
might just have to go
are
join
pretty dull.
83 for the high with a pretty strong west wind in the afternoon. And
Some
Friday,
distortion.
wow, it looks good.
Certainly had a good day today. As you can see, the outdoor seating is
To make
certainly
it
starting
more,
to fill up. People are, of course, out at work right now.
it sounds
is
older.
dinner time. I might just have to go join them.
And also I added this stereo chorus plugin.
Temperatures for the early part of the week a bit cool, but on Wednesday warming up, and our highs should climb above the 20-degree mark.
It moves it a little
Bring
bit
down the
away
shade.
from
That's what we've
the
got for you
front
as far
of
as
the
weekend forecast. Saturday,
mix.
a warm day at 81.
Temperatures for the early part of the week a bit cool, but on
Also
Wednesday
added
warming
this
up,
slap
and our
delay.
highs should
It does
climb
a
above the
little bit
20-degree
of the
mark.
same thing, moves it
Bring
back
down
a
the
little bit.
shade. That's what we've got for you as far as the weekend forecast. Saturday, a warm day at 81. Sunny cloud mix. Sunday, a hot day at 80.
When it's summertime, I'm gonna pack my stuff, so we can drive away.
So I removed some bottom, added some, made it a little bit more aggressive. And I used this Guldfoss EQ. I think this plugin is like genius. It's really good for vocals. I love it. Remove some low mids, and I use Soothe too, just to control it a little bit. Not a lot. And I use this plugin again. It's again like a stereo chorus thing to back the vocal off a little bit, because I don't want it to be like right in the front. Not for this song. And I added some sheen with Clairphonic, and then actually a lot of Beat Crusher. That also moves it back a little bit because it makes the S's push down.
So we can drive away.
So I got like a normal plate and this crazy delay.
When it's summertime, I'm gonna pack my stuff, so we can drive away.
This is Lemon by Acoustic Audio. This is probably my favorite delay plugin for vocals. It feels so random all the time. I don't know. It feels alive every time I flick through the presets. I always find something interesting. The interface is not the best. I always have to work a lot to make it work. For this song I decided to not do any separate mastering. This project I did in one day. I wrote it, recorded, mixed it really quickly, and I didn't master it at all. So there's a limiter on there, I'm gonna show you. I raised the volume a little bit and it's limiting like half a dB. And I didn't really need more because I distorted it to hell before the limiter, so yeah. Normally I would do mastering, but I don't know. You gotta try it out, man. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you didn't like it. Thank you.